know why Vladimir Putin would be worried about the military setting up 8 bio-research labs in a country bordering them, our military, that the United States government has declared war, who has declared war against the average American, should not suggest that they would use one of these bioweapons against a good friend like Putin just because he refuses to go along. You know, if he refuses to go along with their plans, the plans of the deep state, and their interference with other countries. You know, they are on their side. He is on their side, they think. Now, whether he is or not is up for grabs. I don't think he is. I think that he's going to betray China at this point. Americans should not suggest that they would use one of these bioweapons against a good friend like Putin. Putin will destroy all the evidence that Biden took money for, favors, and committed treason against the United States. I think that is the reason Joe Biden has prompted him to go in there. It's all just a big joke between them. Yeah, if Putin goes in there, I'm gonna kick his ass. Well, I heard that when Putin was talking to Biden on the telephone, he said, well, you're the president of nothing. That's how much respect he has for Biden. You're president of nothing. Does he know that Biden isn't really the president? Or does he just feel that he doesn't have much of a presidency? I'm not sure which, but I think Putin probably knows more about what's happening in the government than a lot of people. It's not stupid. So Putin makes an agreement with China, goes into the Ukraine. Well, what if he really is there for the reasons he says? He hasn't taken over any major population centers that I know of. They talk about how, well, if he gets a bomb in Chernobyl, the ashes are going to drift over to Europe. He's going to destroy Europe. Why would Putin do that? That's weird. He could do that without going into the country. Just send a missile over there. Doesn't make any sense. So maybe, perhaps, since Joe Biden has been so nice to him, giving him the pipeline back and all that, maybe Putin will ship the 8 biolabs to him for the favor of lifting the ban off of Russia to Germany pipeline and refusing to put sanctions on Russia until they had already committed themselves to the invasion of Ukraine. The biolabs that Putin should not worry about could not possibly be used by one of the 6 factions in the Ukraine that are in constant civil war with each other. That would be insane. How would any Ukrainian ever know to steal the weapons from one of our biolabs in their own country that everyone knows about? How would these Ukrainian factions even know the United States government was experimenting with bioweapons in their country? It's insane. I only know because I learned about it from the internet. Would the United States be concerned if at our southern border, Mexico were allowing the Russian military to experiment with bioweapons in 8 different labs in Mexico? If Russia were to set up caches of weapons in Mexico near our southern border to ensure we did not attack Mexico, would that be an issue for us? Well, I think the answer to both those questions is a clear no. Americans are tolerant. Under Joe Biden, we have opened up our southern border to cartel drug smugglers, child sex traffickers, rapists, murderers, sick people of all diseases. We don't define between diseases. We let them all in. COVID patients that we trust to tell us if they're sick or not with COVID, which we don't trust the American people to do that. Of course, the Chinese use the Mexican cartel to smuggle enough poisonous fentanyl in to kill the whole country every month. I suppose that's because they have not decided which month they want to kill us, so they are covering all the options by sending in enough each month to kill us. No, that's a fair point. It concerns me, though, that fentanyl is one of the hugest killers of young to middle-aged men above any other type of death. There are some children whom the Chinese Communist Party is killing with fentanyl by using the Mexican drug cartels to smuggle it over in huge amounts. But I suppose if they're raping women and children and selling them to weirdos to have sex with, you can't expect the cartel to worry about a few children dying because they smuggle Chinese, what do they call it? China white across the Mexican border, our southern border, if they're raping women and children, selling them to people to have sex with, you can't expect them to worry about a few kids dying because they ran across a counterfeit pill that looked like a pharmacy drug and they took it, and it only takes a few little teeny bit of that fentanyl to kill somebody, and you can kill yourself just by falling down on a bag of it and taking a deep breath. Anyway, there have been kids too that didn't know it was there and they've taken it. All right, I suppose that might be because a lot of them are made to look like pharmaceuticals. That might be. I don't know why they would do that. Make a deadly poison like fentanyl into a look like exactly like a pharmaceutical pill, but oh well. I can understand why our government knew that Vladimir Putin would be A-okay with us experimenting with bioweapons in a country that borders Russia. He should understand if he discovers, as I did on the internet, that the CIA is weaponizing the Russian-hating Nazis, that they would never use these Nazis or the bioweapons against Russia. No, he has an agreement with China, and they are tight friends for the first time in a million years. They say that the United States is a natural ally to Russia. That was proven in World War II, but I digress. They don't get along with China very well. But if they got an agreement right now, our DHS, the Homeland Security Department, which was created, ironically, to keep away out of the country after 9/11, to keep people out of the country like the illegals or the, I don't know if they were illegals, but the people from other countries, terrorists. So the Department of Homeland Security was made to protect us from people from other countries that might come in and do stuff like that, damage. Well, now the DHS has taken on a different role. They're smuggling in Islamic terrorists. Now, the Department of Defense, Blinken, about everybody's involved in this effort to smuggle in terrorists to the United States. They are smuggling Islamic terrorists from Afghanistan, which is probably why they left the Americans there behind enemy lines, so they have room for the terrorists. You can tell that the terrorists by the way they act. They rape people, they attack people, they steal stuff, they rip license plates off of cars and make knives out of them so they can have knife fights. They do all sorts of fun things that I'm sure the Americans or the ones that helped us for 20 years in Afghanistan, doesn't sound like them. Sounds more like the ISIS or Al-Qaeda, Taliban, somebody different than, not the Afghanistanis, whom our soldiers have bragged so much we're great working with. No. So our DHS may smuggle Islamic terrorists into the country from Afghanistan, refuse to test them for COVID, as required for Americans, because they trust them but not Americans. Then if they wanted to go to school or work, which Americans have to be tested and jabbed, whatever, back then anyway, to do those things, and then they ship them covertly into all cities all over the United States, especially swing states. They sneak them in on a plane using Biden's plane from the White House, and they leave. They sneak them off the plane, places like Florida and Pennsylvania and Texas, and they'll stop in a city using one of Biden's planes, and they'll let all these illegals off and then sneak out. It's gotten so bad that DeSantis has threatened to send them all over to Delaware, which is Biden's home, so they can. I've also heard that maybe they should send them to the White House and camp there. Why would they do that? Is it just because they want their votes? I don't think so. There's hundreds of thousands of them. We have 300 and some odd thousand Chinese here going to school. There was a Chinese defector, I think his name is Dong Jue or something, who said that at least 1/3 of those were actually going under assumed names, and that they were the children of rich people over there, and that they were in the military, but they were going under assumed names. about 136,000 of them Chinese military in the United States. Watch what's happening in Canada. Maybe it'll make it a little more interesting. So, our DHS, smuggling in all that stuff, our FBI may start files on mothers and fathers that attend school board meetings to complain about the treatment of their children and accuse them of being terrorists. They may use blunt iron objects to smash a mother's door in to question her actions. Are you trying to organize terrorist mothers to complain at school board meetings? I don't know if they torture these mothers or just threaten them or whatever. I mean, these mothers, you know, I kind of suspected that mothers in America, now I've lived here for 60 years, and I never really realized how violent these mothers are. They were raising kids all around in our neighborhood. They were attending school board meetings. They were sending their children to go to school with me. And all this time, these mothers in America are terrorists. It just makes you stop and think. Our FBI may start files on mothers and fathers that attend school board meetings to complain about the treatment of their children and accuse the school board people of being terrorists. And then they may get their door smashed in to be questioned. Our Department of Defense may withdraw from a country we have vowed to protect so quickly, like pulling a tablecloth from the magicians. They pull the tablecloth out from under the whole set of dishes and stuff, and if they do it quick enough, the dishes and stuff stay on the table. Well, that's pretty much what Biden did. He just whisked the military out of Afghanistan, left an empty space there, left all the equipment. So our Department of Defense may withdraw from a country we vowed to protect so quickly that the country is overtaken by Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS, whom they're shipping over to the United States. They provide these terrorists with $80 billion worth of military hardware sent to you as with a special bottle of wine from Joe Biden. It's from his finest. He keeps in the cellar of the White House. Of course, this $80 billion worth of military hardware, they give all the property of the United States taxpayers. We paid to buy $80 billion worth of weapons, and Joe Biden sent them to terrorists in Afghanistan that we were supposed to be kicking out of the country. Donald Trump had a different plan for withdrawing from Afghanistan that would have probably been a little bit safer, saved our $80 billion worth of weapons from getting into the hands of terrorists, etc. But no, Joe Biden had a different plan. He also allowed the terrorists to murder 13 American Marines that were left, with thousands of Americans stuck behind enemy lines. How nice of him to give them hostages, victims, Americans. Wow. He gives them all this weapons. He gives them American hostages. The guy treats the terrorists well. So he leaves them stranded in the country, and then so that they can go straight to the houses of these Americans they left behind and torture, rape, and kill them, or just hold them for money without the bother finding out where they live. They give the addresses and the names of all these Americans to the Taliban. You can't make this stuff up. I can tell you with certainty that if our country is experimenting with bioweapons near the Russian border and has weaponized the Nazi against Putin, which is his natural enemy, turning against even their own citizens, which would be us, the American government, turning against us, and working to destroy their own country. Well, if they do that to the American people, their own people, Putin has nothing to worry about. They won't touch him. They only treat their own people badly, not those who might be a threat to their own. That would be laughable to think that a government that could not give a rip for its own people, this is ours, allowing them to be poisoned by fentanyl, as they have us, allowing to be raped, murdered, and stranded by terrorist states they created, as in Afghanistan, attempting to destroy the American middle-class small business owners through COVID shutdowns and letting Antifa burn their businesses, letting people run rampant through the major cities, burning buildings, attacking cops, murdering business owners who are trying to protect their businesses, and attacking White House to kill the President of the United States, injuring 50 Secret Service guards and pushing Donald Trump's security to hide him in a safe room in the center of the White House. Do you think that a government that hates its own people and loves other countries more, gives them money, military secrets, plutonium, and their loyalty, would ever harm a fellow dictator such as Vladimir Putin? Oh, that's plain nonsense. So evidently, those reasons for Vladimir Putin going in are nonsense because the deep state likes Vladimir Putin.